Yeah. Tonight we have an exclusive interview with Joseph Harding, Festival Director of the HorrorQuest Film Festival in Atlanta, Georgia. I'd like to thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for coming to the studio. HorrorQuest, what is it about?
HorrorQuest is a 100% free film festival that we're putting on right now at Cinefest on the GSU campus, and this is our first year, and so far it's been going pretty good. We've had some interesting people come out and watch movies, and it's done good enough that hopefully we're going to do it again next year.
So I heard this is a free festival. Is that true?
Yeah, it's 100% free. It's free to filmmakers, and it's free for everybody who wants to come watch a movie. Of course, since it is at Cinefest, it's free for students as well, but just anybody off the street that wants to come in and watch a movie, they're welcome to come in as well.
So like, how did the idea come up? Because I noticed a lot of times, a lot of film festivals, they charge people to attend the festival, and they charge the people who submit their films like $20, $30, $40, $80 to submit one film. Yeah,
well, that was kind of like how we came about it, doing it free, is that you know, like if you make your movie, you know, then you have to also think about like how's it going to be seen. So a lot of filmmakers, you know, have a hard time coming up with the extra funds to actually submit to festivals. So we kind of took a page from Lloyd Kaufman in their film festival called Trauma Dance, which is also 100% free. So we kind of like followed their model and said, let's see if we could do the same thing in Atlanta. And so far it's been working out really good. We've had a lot of positive feedback from the filmmakers saying, you know, just how much they appreciate, number one, it being free, but also how we conduct ourselves, because apparently some film festivals are not very nice to the filmmakers. So we try to stay in contact with everybody, and also we you know, let them know when we get in their submissions, and we also try to stay in contact with them through the whole submission process, instead of rather just, you know, kind of not having any contact whatsoever. So we've had a lot of, you know, positive feedback about how different we are compared to other festivals.
So have you had any filmmakers show up to support the film?
I'm not 100% sure. If they have showed up, they haven't come up and talked to me. I do know I got an email last night from one of the short film filmmakers who said that he was going to be here today, I believe, but most of the films were not actually submitted from people in Atlanta. Most of them came from, I think the furthest one away was Zimbabwe.
Wow.
And a lot from Australia and you know, Mexico and stuff like that. So most of the people who submitted films, I don't think they could actually make it here, but there was a few that were like from Alabama that I think it airs tomorrow night, and I think him and his family are actually going to be in attendance. So I think that probably some of them have shown up. They just haven't, you know, come up and talked to me, which they should, because I would like to, you know, I would like to meet them.
So it sounds like you got a good mix of like international films coming in.
Yeah, I actually think some of them are actually U.S. premieres.
Wow.
The movie that we're going to be showing on Thursday, called Stained, it was actually going to be the United States premiere of the movie, but and this is something that has actually happened with a lot of HorrorQuest features. Is I don't know if maybe it's a good luck charm, but most of the features that we have decided to show, either right after we select them or right before we screen them, they're all like just getting picked up for distribution.
Wow.
So her movie actually got picked up for distribution the week after it got accepted into HorrorQuest, and then it got put on iTunes, and it got to the top 50 of iTunes.
No way.
And they had no marketing whatsoever. It was just all on just how good people thought the movie was. So.
'Cause I've heard a lot of times where people say, well, you submit your film to a big festival and don't worry about the small festival, because they're like, don't worry about it, because like B and C festivals.
Yeah.
Don't submit your film to these festivals until you've gone to major out the, you know, the big, you know, festivals in the U.S. You know, like Sundance or whatever. You know, like the Tribeca and all that stuff. But a lot of times I find when I was reading, I don't know if you're Chris Gore's book. A lot of those, a lot of the indie films, they get picked up like some off-the-wall festival, like the USA Festival.
Yeah. I mean, I can understand why some people might give that advice, but at the same time, too, distributors, especially little independent distributors, number one, they look for how many festivals you've actually been accepted to, and number two, like they like to see awards too. So my advice to a filmmaker would be not to focus on the big festivals and actually go after the smaller ones, because the smaller ones are probably they might not get as many films in as the bigger ones, so they might be a little bit more apt to select your film just because they might need to pad out their what they're going to be showing. But yeah, I kind of think it's the opposite, and plus too, it's probably going to be a little bit less expensive. So if you go for some festivals don't even have, like us, we don't have a submission fee to submit a movie, but yeah, so if you go for a smaller one, I think your odds are a lot better at getting in, especially if you're a short, because most festivals show a lot more shorts than they do features. So if you want something that you make shown, your best bet is to go with a short and go for a small festival.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Saves a lot of money.
Yeah, saves a lot of money too.
I went on the website. I read your background. You told me you used to work at was it at the show in PBA?
Yeah, I used to work at Public Broadcasting Atlanta.
How's that?
Actually, I really liked it for the most part. No matter where you work, there's always going to be like office politics and stuff like that. And I was actually let go from there pretty recently. So, but I don't hold them any ill will. I actually wanted to work there for forever. I actually loved working there, so I was a little bit disappointed. But as far as local television broadcast places, they're pretty good, and they show some interesting stuff. I know they recently did a documentary on Dragon Con, which was really good. So, and they also have also, if you make short films, they have a show on short films that I believe airs it's either Saturday or Sunday. It's called Atlanta Shorts. And so if you live in the Atlanta area and make short films, that's also a good place to submit them to.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Let's just say you're an independent filmmaker.
Yeah.
Maybe you're going to Georgia State or Atlanta, the Art Institute or something like that.
Yeah.
What advice would you give somebody, if they're just starting out right now, if they're in school, they're like a sophomore, not yet a senior? Mm-hmm. What advice would you give somebody who's an indie filmmaker trying to make it in the industry? Like, what advice would you give to them? And if they can't afford to move out to LA or New York, what kind of?
Well, I would say you really don't have to move out to LA and New York anymore. That used to be the case, like back in the early days of Hollywood, but now that's not really the case. And actually, Atlanta actually has a pretty is actually building a pretty thriving movie industry. So Atlanta is actually a good place to live if you want to be a filmmaker. I mean, because especially if you are just interested in seeing how films get put together, there's a lot of stuff like Walking Dead shoots here. You can get you a part on Walking Dead, or I think Vampire Diaries is done here. And plus two, they've about to open up the new Atlanta film studio in Paulding County. So they're going to be looking for definitely a lot of people to come and work for them. So if you're looking to get into the industry, I would say your first bet before you ever decide to direct something is work for free on a few little shorts or features, or just work on anything you can. If you can get you a little job working at a public broadcast station, that is also a good way to see how a lot of stuff is put together. But as far as having to move to LA or stuff like that, or even going to film school, those kind of things, you don't have to do that anymore. If you're thinking about going to Full Sail or something, you don't have to do that. I mean, I went to film school for a short period of time. You basically sit around and watch movies. They don't teach you that much. So if you have a passion for making movies, go to Best Buy and buy yourself a little handy cam. I think they're like a few $100 now. Go buy yourself like a little camera and just start making movies with your friends. And then as you get better, then go out and try to find some money to make a short or even a little feature, and then submit it to some festivals and see what people think.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Another question: you used to do visual effects.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, for a few years I worked kind of part-time off and on doing like creature effects and makeup and stuff like that, and I got the opportunity to work with this guy. I think he owns probably the only big special effects company in Georgia, and his name's Toby Sales, and he was on the show Dirty Jobs. You know that show Dirty Jobs?
Yeah.
He was on there as a special effects artist and stuff like that, and I got a chance to work with him for a good long time, and he's one of the few guys that I've talked to. I've noticed a lot, the special effects guys are always willing to talk to young filmmakers. Directors are different. Like if you go up to a director who's made a movie and maybe has made something of himself a little bit, they don't want any more people in the club. They've been struggling to get in the club and now they're in it, so they don't want to help you get in the club. Whereas special effects artists, they're always willing to talk to let you in. So Toby was very good to me, and he with him and also a lot of friends of mine who do a lot of local productions, I got to work on a lot of really cool stuff. So it would be something I would be interested in doing again, but not. I don't get asked to do too much anymore. And we're doing HorrorQuest. HorrorQuest is almost a full-time job in itself now. So
it seems like that's a lot of work. I mean, especially if you.
Well, the work. My experience with it has been that because I had no idea how to run a festival. So when I started it, it was pretty much I was just making it up as I went along, and it's actually has worked out pretty good so far. But when I started it, like I didn't know anything. There's a lot of little legal things here and there, so I didn't know about how to get sponsors, and I didn't know about like tax exempt status for your festival and stuff like that. So I had to learn all that, and it's taken the course of I've been working on HorrorQuest for the past 2.5 years. So it's been a long road, and then plus when you get films in, that's a lot of movies you have to watch, and I think we got somewhere a little over 300 submissions this year. So I had to sit there and watch every film that came in, every short that came in.
Wait. You watch, because I heard like some people say, well, we watch the films, but not really. They'll throw it to like an assistant, and they'll watch 5 minutes and throw it in the garbage.
Well, HorrorQuest did not actually have a volunteer until the festival started. So everything that you see that has anything to do with HorrorQuest, from the logo to the website to the selection of films, I did myself. Wow. So every movie that came in, I sat through and watched. And some of them can be hard to sit through because not all of them are very good. Although I was surprised by the amount of quality there is. There's a lot of people out there making some really cool films, and sadly I couldn't show all of them. I would have loved to, book another 20 films if I could.